Hi, everybody. So, today we are going to look into a very important concept known as the accounting principles. So, what are accounting principles? Accounting principles are basically nothing but certain principles on the basis of which the accounting practices are taken care of. Okay. So, as and when we look into each and every principle, you will know what it is. Okay. So, we have 11 important principles that we are going to cover today. So, let's get started. So the first one over here is, as you can see, accounting or business entity concept. This is a very common principle that is stated everywhere. There is even a separate video that has been done on this principle, or it is also one of the fundamental accounting assumption and concepts. So you can go check that video out also here. Okay, now moving on to this. What is this accounting or business entity principle? It states that the business is considered to be separate and distinct from its owners. So the owners and the business, these are separate concepts. They have separate entities. That is what this concept states. Okay. So now, what happens is, because of this, when we record the transactions in the books, this concept affects the recording of these transactions. So what it does, it is recorded from the business point of view and not from the owner's point of view. So what happens is, owners become the creditors of the business, and the capital account is maintained for a owner. So this capital account is the basis in which the owner's transactions are recorded. The profits and the capital that the owner invests, all these things are credited in that account, and the drawings that the owner makes are debited to this account. So typically for this business, this owner is a, what to say, a liability. Okay, so the business owes this much of amount to the owner. So this concept is very important because it states the distinction that has to be made between the business and the owner. Let's move to the second concept, which is nothing but the money measurement principle. So this is also easy to understand right from the name, money measurement. So everything is to be measured by money. So only when it is measured in monetary terms, they can be recorded as transactions. They can be recorded as accounting transactions. Now, for example, let's take that there is a cash of 10K, and there are 11 trucks and about 5 tons of raw material. Okay, so can I record all of these things just like that in the books of accounts? No, I can only record this cash as such because it is of a monetary value. So for 11 trucks also, I'll have to see how much the cost is, how much the value is, and then I have to see the value of these 5 tons of raw material. So all of them will be recorded in one suitable basis, that is the monetary term. Monetary term is nothing but the basis of measurement, right? So when everything is measured in monetary terms, it is easier for us to record all these things. Okay, now next, let's move on to the next concept, which is nothing but the accounting period principle. So what is this accounting period principle? um Okay, when we come into this concept, there is actually something we have to look into. Okay, so according to this accounting period principle, what they say is that the life of an enterprise, okay, it is broken down into small periods, so that its performance is measured at regular intervals. So that is what they are saying in this accounting period principle. But what we have already looked into is the going concern concept. Okay, so what does this going concern concept mean? You can check out this video in which a detailed explanation is done. Okay, for now, the accounts of an enterprise are maintained following the going concern concept. Okay, so meaning the enterprise shall continue its activities for a foreseeable period, foreseeable future. Okay, so if we take that concept and if we take this concept, there is a clash, right? In that we are saying that the business will run for a foreseeable period, but here we are breaking the period of an enterprise into smaller pieces. Why is that? So that is in order to do the accounting and interpret and analyze the financial information. It also helps in decision making. So when we looked into the definition of accounting, we looked that after analysis and interpretation of the financial statements, the financial information has to be communicated to the internal and external users, on the basis of which the users will be able to take decisions on how to invest in this company, how this business is performing and stuff like that, right? So for this very thing, it is divided into various regular intervals known as the accounting period. So now this accounting period can be a year, can be a quarter, can be a month. Okay, So based on the different accounting period that a business follows, for each and every accounting period the financial statements are prepared, and the financial performance of the business is looked into, right? Okay, the next concept is the full disclosure principle. What is the full disclosure? So in this they are saying that there should be a complete and understandable reporting of the financial statements of all significant information relating to the economic affairs of the entity. Okay, so all the information has to be disclosed. That is what they are saying in this. Okay, so apart from any sort of legal requirements or anything that a company might have, they are saying that the all material and significant information is to be, disclosed in order to have it as a good accounting practice. Okay, uh, how do they decide on this? This is decided on the basis of the uh, materiality of the information. So with that we move to the next concept, which is the materiality principle. What is the materiality principle? Materiality principle is nothing but the relative importance of an item of or an event, relative importance of an item or event for a business. Okay, so how much important this particular transaction is, how much important this particular event is, that is the materiality for the business. Okay, so for example, let's take, there should be a repair of 75,000 that has to be incurred over here. Okay, so there are two businesses. Business A has turnover of around 1.5 lakhs, business B has turnover for around 10 lakhs. For this 1.5 lakhs business, 75,000 is a huge amount, is comparatively a huge amount. An item should be regarded as material if there is a reason to believe that knowledge of it would influence the decision of an informed investor. Okay, so this is the materiality concept. Next we move on with the prudence or conservatism principle. This is a very very common phrase in which they say that a business should not anticipate too much of profit, but it has to provide for all the possible losses. It has to take into consideration all the sorts of losses, all prospective losses that can be occurred, but not the prospective profits. Okay, so this concept, ensures that the financial statements present a realistic picture of the state of affairs of the enterprise and do not paint a better picture than what actually is. Okay, so in order to do this, what the business does is, some amount of money is set aside from the profit in order to manage any future losses that might be there for the business. So this is the prudence or conservatism principle. What happens here is the liabilities are overstated generally, and sometimes any sort of manipulation can also happen through this principle. So this concept has to be applied with more caution and care so that the results reported are not distorted. Okay, next is the historical cost concept. So what is the historical cost concept? Okay, so this term itself clearly states that it is the cost. So for example, let's take that uh, there is a there is an asset purchased for rupees 5 lakhs. Okay, but currently 2 months ago I purchased it for 5 lakhs. Currently the market value is 7 lakhs, but in the books I'll have to only record 5 lakhs minus whatever the depreciation is there for that asset. Okay, so depreciation is nothing but the diminishing value of the asset, how much value I have to diminish for the asset. Okay, so this is what I'll have to record. I shouldn't do 7 lakhs minus depreciation, or I shouldn't put exactly 7 lakhs or something. 5 lakhs is the cost with which I purchased. So okay, so this is the concept, cost at the time of purchase. What is the cost that I incurred for this asset at the time of purchase? Okay, less the depreciation. Okay, this is the basis for all the subsequent accounting. This cost at the time of purchase is the basis for all the subsequent accounting, less this depreciation. So this is the historic cost concepts. Okay, concept. So cost concept, what it does, why should we follow this, is it brings objectivity in the preparation and presentation of financial statements. They are not influenced by the personal bias or judgments. Next we move to the eighth concept, which is nothing but the matching principle. So what is the matching principle? Matching principle is based on accounting period concept. Okay, so in order to do the financial statements, a business has to look into a profit and loss account, right? So what this matching principle states is that it is necessary to match all the revenues of the period with the expenses of that period to determine the correct profit or loss for the accounting period. Okay, so the profit or revenue that is earned during the period is matched with the expenditure incurred to earn that revenue. Okay, it is not relevant when the payment was made or received, or when the cash came or anything. So according to this, all the adjustments are made for the outstanding prepaid expenses, accrued and unearned income and stuff like that. Okay, so this is the matching principle. Why is it based on the accounting period principle? Is because in the accounting period principle we said that at regular intervals the financial statements of the company has to be prepared, financial statements and financial analysis of the business has to be done, right? So while doing that analysis, one of the major important statements is the profit and loss statement to ascertain how much profit the business is having. Okay, so in order to do that, this matching principle has to be applied over here. So whatever expenses I'm incurring, I have to match the revenue pertaining to that expenses. Okay, so this also ensures a true and fair view of profitability and financial position. Next, we move on to the ninth principle, which is nothing but the duality principle. This is a very, very important principle. Of course, all the 11 are important, but this is one of the principles which applies throughout. Okay, so what is the duality principle? Every debit has a equal credit. There are two aspects, right? Debit and credit. So every debit has a equal amount of credit and also vice versa. Okay, so let's take for example, there is an asset of say 1 lakh. I have written 2 lakhs over here. Take the example of the business entity concept itself. Let's say the capital invested by the owner is 1 lakh. It is the liability for us. Yes, it is the liability. But isn't it also an asset for us? Yes, it is an asset, because we can use that fund in order to carry out the operations of the business. Am I right? Yes. So for that, this concept applies. So for every debit, not only for asset and capital, for every debit there is a corresponding amount of credit, equal amount of credit, and vice versa. Only based on this principle the balance sheet lies. Okay, so the balance sheet has to be tallied on both the sides, because only then this duality principle will be satisfied. Okay, now let's move on to the next principle, which is nothing but the revenue recognition concept. So what is this revenue recognition concept? As and when the revenue is recognized, as and when a transaction occurs, the obligation to receive the amount has been established. So revenue is recognized at that moment itself. Okay, so now let's look at an example. There is a sales done by a business in the month of February, but the payment is received only in April. But does that mean that the sales has been done in April? No, it means that sales has already been done in February, be it a credit sales or anything, but the revenue has been established. I have to receive this much amount of money. Like for example, let's say the sale has been done for 50 lakhs or 50,000 or something around. Let's just take an example. Okay, 50,000 rupees. So that has been done in February. So in the books I'll record. That being said, now let's move on to the final principle, which is nothing but the verifiable objective principle. What is the verifiable objective principle? It simply holds that the accounting should be free from any sort of personal bias. Measurements that are based on let's say verifiable evidences are regarded as objectives. Okay, so all the accounting transactions that a business does should be evidenced and supported by business documents. So these supporting documents can be like cash memos or invoices, sales bills, etc. Okay, so that's all regarding the 11 important accounting principles. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and comment below if you have any sort of doubts and anything. And also you can email us and stay updated in order to look into the furthermore topics of accounting and much more.